Oh, well. Oh, well, there you go. There's the other bit there. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. There I am. Hello. Hello. Let's hope everybody can see me. I had to set everything back up here in about 15 minutes. So, uh, hey, everybody. How y'all doing? I am, as you can see from the background, I'm back from my LA adventure. And, yeah, it was a lot of fun. For those of you who follow me regularly, I did a stream from a hotel room and it didn't suck. I paid for the premium internet, uh, premium such as it is. Actually, found some interesting information about the URL being used to denote whether or not the internet that you get is the stuff you pay for versus the stuff you don't pay for. A lesser ethical person might have looked through some of the inputs on that URL to see if there were ways to circumvent the paying requirements. Not that there were all that big a requirement to pay or to not pay in the first place. So, um, if you're looking for the security portion of our show, I would suggest reaching back, following and subscribing, going back to the previous couple hours or almost 100 hours worth of video. Most of that is infosec related. Tonight was supposed to be our infosec podcast stream, but Miss Berlin has been working in the yard all day, and Mr. Betcher said he was going to be late. And because Miss Berlin did not want to look like she'd spent all day burying bodies, that was her words, not mine. She wanted to give it a minute. She said otherwise she wasn't going to use her camera. And I said, I am sorry that society requires people who are not myself to have all makeup and hair fixed nice and stuff for a stream. So I do apologize to her for that. But I wanted to make her feel as comfortable as she could be. So I'm we're gonna go ahead and record something tomorrow night. Otherwise, and Mr. Bedger said he was going to be late, so thought I would give them some time to prepare themselves. So tonight, I'm going to indulge myself, and actually, it was something that I talked about with MT Taggart Monday night when I saw him in LA about doing other things on the stream. In this case, um, non infosec related items. The point being that we can't just work all the time. Um, and if we do so, even if it's things that we are passionate about, that being, infosec or security or GRC or setting up, like MT Taggart setting up, IPSs and IDSs for labs that he would then, go and show people how to do, operational analysis of packets and things. We would get bored, and I think some of our listeners would get bored doing that. And what I want to do is to bring a different something to the stream. So tonight we're going to, I'm just going to talk, and if you've got questions about security, we can talk about some of those. But my other little hobby or thing that I like to do is uh, I'm a pushover for a Kickstarter. Um, I have kickstarted a ton of things over the years, and I love RPGs, but I rarely get to actually play them. There's a ton of stuff being kickstarted, indie kind of stuff, or smaller publishing houses out there publishing stuff about games. Some of it's very not my bag of grass. Oh boy, that came out wrong. But there's a ton of things out there, and one of the first things I think I ever kickstarted. Let's go see what I have kickstarted in the past here. Settings. I do a lot of sci-fi stuff. Do a lot of, oh man, is it going to ask me for a code? Okay. All right. Well, well, there's my email, everybody. Please, please feel free to join me and send me all your spams because that's what I like. So there's a tons of, really? Nova Praxis. Oh, really? See, there you go. See, Nova Praxis, transhuman sci-fi tabletop. This, I think I have this one. Let me see. Do I have this one? I want to say yes that I actually, I missed it. Damn. Okay. Oh no, this was up. Okay. Yeah, I have this one. But yeah, I look at sci-fi stuff. I've got a lot of uh, fantasy stuff. I've got content all over, including in my drive through RPG, folder. So I read a lot of stuff, and I like looking at a lot of it because it gives me ideas about things. And I rarely get to actually do anything with them. I have a ton of content. I just bought some lists for what I have in my drawer here. So as you can see, I do a lot of purchasing of things, but so I read stuff and I'm like, ooh, that'll be great to run, and I'd love to be able to do that. Yeah, as you can see, I have there it is. There we go. So I have a ton of stuff. Some of this stuff, the one thing I do like about Kickstarter is a lot of the Kickstarters have PDFs um, for kickstarting things, which I like the PDFs because if I had a hard copy of every one of these, it would probably be exposed email spam is so outdated. Just hey, Super Lolly, how you doing? Yeah, I've had that email since Gmail was. Oh my God. I was talking to a coworker of mine down in LA, and he was born in 2001, which makes my email address 2 years younger than him because I bought the email invite to Gmail back when it was invite only on eBay for like $2. And I've had that email address ever since. But yeah, so just register. Yeah, I assume that somebody has already done so. I mean, Gmail is actually pretty good about posting a bunch of stuff up, but um, but yeah, Gmail's pretty good about spamming and getting rid of spam and stuff. But the good thing about Kickstarters, a lot of times, if they do it right, they actually put the stuff, you'll buy the book, you buy the PDF, you can download like the beta, and then once it goes out to the general public, you can buy them, or you can get the discount code through Drive Through RPG. I've got a bunch of stuff that is sci-fi related, Starmada. I've gotten the Nova Praxis stuff. I've got a lot of stuff, and I want to do a futuristic sci-fi kind of game. And I think I might get MT Taggart to be able to join me and somebody else, a number of people. But ideally, what I'd like to do is actually get a game started and it's really hard to get people who want to play. Let me rephrase that. It's hard to coordinate people who want to play that actually can. I've actually I had a regular 5e game that for some reason just stopped. Like it went away after one cancellation. Uh, and then I tried to start up a Fate core game or Fate condensed game, and it did not go so well with the group. I think met for like 2 sessions, and then they fell apart. And I've been trying to get working with some of the people in our Discord, and I don't know if the time zones are too different or what, but it really would help if people were in the right time zones. And I recognize that some of that's probably me because by the time I'm able to play in the evenings, it's late for them. So it really cuts down on their amount of time to play, and they have families and stuff. So I'm actually looking for specific times and places that we can do this. So uh yeah, so let me see. Following profile settings, activity, or no, it was back project. That's it, view all. So yeah, so I've actually I'm currently supporting the Blade Runner role playing game. I actually kind of like the grittiness of the Blade Runner series. So I've done that one. So I don't know how much 298 SEK is. I'm assuming that's a lot, but see, I normally just buy the PDF versions. I don't buy the hardbacks. The other reason I don't buy the hardbacks or the paperbacks or the physical copies, or I tend to not buy all the additional bits like dice and stuff like that, is because some people have lofty goals about things, and I don't want to say they over deliver and under promise and over deliver, or whichever way is the worst. But there is issues shipping things, and needing a printer, and a lot of people outsource this stuff to countries like China, and there what was that, about 3-4 months ago there was a paper shortage. So getting paper just to print books, and then putting those books into a box, and putting that box in with 15 other boxes on a crate, and then putting that crate in with a bunch of stuff into a big ass ship and sending it across the ocean feels wasteful to me. So I don't like physical copies. If I want a physical copy, I can always print it myself, you know. I have seen very little reason to do so. But and I get it. There's definitely reasons to do, non PDF versions if you want. And this one's actually still going on. So it's got 3 days left. If you're interested in it, it is going to get funded because they set a $10,000 goal. They're they're at 1,500,000. Um, craziness. Yeah, so I don't know how much 298 SEK is. Maybe it'll say here. Oh, about $91. Jesus. That's crazy. Okay. Well, I'm in it for $100 then. US. Um the thing that saddens me about it is, some of this stuff will end up on, in Drive Through RPG. This one, oh, and the other thing is I'm moving to San Diego in 2023. So if there were any delays in the physical copies, it could get delivered to this house and not the house in San Diego. I've had a hell of a lot of issues with getting physical stuff and receiving physical stuff backers and things. But I mean, you can see some of the stuff that I've done, PDFs, herbalist kind of stuff. I did back the Brandon Sanderson Surprise 4 novels. I've never read a single book of his, but apparently he's all right. So if I ever do make it through the Wheel of Time series, the last 4 books are his. So we'll see what happens with those. I know he wrote the what's it, the allomancy ones, where you basically eat metal and gain magical powers. So um but yeah, there's a ton of stuff in here, and more. I've supported more than a few that, yeah, like these. I actually canceled these because shit lords. I've actually had more than a few that didn't make it. But only 8 projects out of about 15 years. So anyway, there's a lot of good content out there. A lot of times it starts out on like on a Patreon, like Ian World. I actually supported them originally to get their new website up about 10 years ago. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot of good people out there making some good stuff that sometimes starts as like what do they call it? Not DM's Guild. What is that thing? Home brewery kind of stuff, and then they just keep building upon it, and it gets big. Anyway, So, I have all this stuff and I want to do something with it. So, a futuristic kind of thing is what I'm looking for. So this is this is eclipse phase, and one of the things that I was having issues with, because eclipse phase is a transhumanist. Let's see, where is it? No, I don't want to. Does this say titles? Can you search all titles? Yeah, I don't want to redesign. Just give me the damn list. There you go. Thank you. Search within my library. All right. So, um, I just bought the Rimword Hack Pack, which has a bunch of vehicles and artwork and pretty cool stuff. Post-Human Studios is actually who builds a lot of this stuff. Eclipse second phase. All right. Batteries. Oh, batteries fully charged. Excellent. All right. So, and I have the Drive Through RPG app, but I haven't gotten that. Let's see. Download this one. Oh, Transhumanity Fate. There it is. There it is. That's what I want right there. Yeah. So this is Eclipse Phase powered by Fate. So I bought both of them because there may be some stuff in Eclipse Phase like tables or what have you. Um, some of the pictures they've got here read very much like a um, you know minus a few changes, like this space octopus look a little expanse like. So that was something that I was interested as well. The idea is there's pretty much death is gone. Those of you who've heard me talking about this one previously, there was some bad things that happened on Earth. There's some AIs. Basically, Judgment Day happened, and the AI started taking people and forcibly uploading them into the singularity. And then people got off the planet. There's only about, I think, 800 million of several billion people who made it. So there's numerous people who are pretty much just living programs on the internet. And with the invention of the cortical stack, you can become anything you want. You can become a starship. You can be a construction drone. If that was a robot and not not a if this thing here was a robot and not a space octopus or an uplifted animal, you could take that over and manipulate the arms and whatever. Uh, so ideally, there are some things that I'm like, do I want to put this in here? But you've got like what do they call those things? The nanites. Drones, micro drone swarms, which are gonna blow shit. And, this looks very awful, and this person's probably going to die because he's going to be eaten by the nanites. But so yeah, the Borg in the 21st century pretty much took things over. Uh, there's a lot of folks who've done some great work on this. I don't want to. I don't. Oh, musical inspiration: Ancient Methods, Chain Reactor, Find Find Flug, Gary Newman, Numan, not the other Gary Newman. Hold on, Holy Grin. If you find any of these musical groups, let me know because I'd like to hear their music. I'm assuming it's super like electronica, maybe kind of futuristic kind of stuff. Um, so anyway, that brings me back to the discussion that I was reading about, because I'm trying to figure out, because one of the things that they do is they talk about and I actually went back. I think this is the first edition book for Rimword, uh, which is in this setting. Rimword is like the outermost areas of Earth. The first edition, the one thing I don't like about the second edition is they've added FTE and psychic powers and shit, and I'm like, okay, great, psychic powers. So this one is talking about reputation as wealth. So they no, that's not it. That's right here. Yeah, reputation. Where is it? Nope. Okay, so that was it. I thought it started out as like Reputation 101. So, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so um, this was a good way of explaining how they treat reputation as wealth in what they call the post scarcity world, because of the addition of, like we have 3D printers now, and the future is pretty much you can 3D print anything in the same amount of time you can order a pizza, and everything is super cheap. The only real value is things that are like made with by hand, and grown. So like it's ironic how we've reversed everything where, people like farmers today are not considered overly, we don't consider them overly important, and though even though they give us food to eat. um, Artisans like farmers who actually make things with like real soil and real biological biological components are highly valued and highly prized. But there's far less land to work with because Earth is really the only place we could grow things, and there is no more Earth. It's been taken over by evil AIs and stuff. Um, I'm sure that there are, aquaponics and hydroponics and growing things out in space, but uh, the idea is that you know the future is going to be in people who make things and not like digitally printing a hot dog, for instance. So YTT, yes, even Earl Grey tea. We don't have replicators yet. That's probably in Eclipse Phase Third Edition. Hey, Kimmy Security, how you doing? Um, but what I was trying to figure out was, um, hey YTT, by the way, welcome. Oh, by the way, while I'm sitting here welcoming people to our channel, I'd like to thank streamer Steamer J, who followed and subscribed with his with their, I don't know who what their pronouns are. Steamer J has subscribed with a Prime account for their Amazon Prime account. So thank you so much for that. Gen XXDCS followed the channel. Maker Deck, of course, the Maker Deck. When we raided them the last time, they did thank me for giving them a raid. I reciprocated, and Maker Deck is following us. HBen AISSA1 also followed, and Koshinen. So there you go. Thank you to Koshinen and HBen AISSA1. All right. So we have we have a like a nascent reputation as wealth kind of design here in on Earth in this day and age. I would say that our reputation currency is a bit more fragile than what they envision in what the future is like. Um, some of the discussion here on page 176 of the Eclipse Phase Rimward, which you can go and grab yourself for the low price of $4.99. You actually can get the Hack Pack bundle or just the Rimward PDF, which for $14.99. Okay, so you can actually get both of them for, oh nope, dead link. But yeah, you can go for $14.99 and get the book. It's 200 pages of source. So if you're short on transhumanist source, this is a good place to do it. They have Rimward and Sunward is like the inner system, so we're all of the orbital habitats around Mars and Venus. So there's we have tons of orbital habitats, very much like the Expanse. So was trying to figure out what how do you explain that, and how do you use it in gameplay? Because it is something that I have trouble getting my mind around, where it's just like I can just walk up, me being me, and asking for a car and or a vehicle, and if my reputation is good enough, I don't have to ask any questions. Almost like credit rating, right? Except, it's instantaneous. It's, in the transhumanist world, I'm imagining everybody's walking around with lenses on their eyeballs that will allow the, and you see this whole thing poking out from a person and says, their reputation score is 585. And you're like, oh, okay. Um, and if something were bad to happen to me and my credit rating or my reputation score, my wealth score dropped to say 200, for instance. One thing they did mention here is you don't spend your rep score. It's simply a metric by which others will judge you, particularly if they don't know you personally. If you're asking for a favor, looking for information on a mutual acquaintance, or claiming an emergency need to jump in line, or asking for use of a collective or community's limited shared resources, your rep score will play a factor when it comes to questions of if, when, and for how long. So it's almost like it felt a lot like when you are trying to haggle with somebody in D&D or like the fantasy role-playing games, and it's like, well, okay, bartering is a charisma skill, so how well can you talk them into either bringing down the amount of money, or handing over that +1 great sword, and with a big promise that you'll give it back. They say when you're in some of these words, I gotta look up because they're super big, and obviously multiple syllabic, multiple syllabic, no syllabic. They got big words that I don't understand. So if you're in non-extropian autonomous space, I don't fucking know what that means. This is the one thing that kind of turns me off about Eclipse Phase, is it's like it's obvious that people are either making shit up or it just means something else. So um and when Monty Python used a narco syndicate commune, and I was we all laughed because ha ha ha, it was stupid. No, they have that here in the Eclipse Phase. So and people actually like that kind of shit. So oh, good. One who advocates autonomy. Okay, great. um let me see. Uh-oh. Extropians are into life extension. Oh, there you go, YTT. Thank you so much. So, okay, so let's get down to practicalities. If you're in a non-life extension autonomy space, yeah, sometimes there's going to be some real reading here. So just go, oh yeah, if you're into these folks, and these folks as well, most of the basic things you can need can be gotten for free, no matter what your rep is: food, clothing, even basic tools. So much like Maslow's hierarchy, which some people discount. So we have, according to Maslow, we have physiological needs: food, shelter, warmth, rest; safety needs: safety and security; belongingness and love needs: intimate relationships, friends; self-esteem needs: prestige, feelings of accomplishment, and self-actualization; extropy and 1980s cryogenic scam. Okay. Well, so YTT, I think whoever generated Eclipse Phase has been using a lot of big words for whatever reason, and because that's what the future is going to look like, and which may be more true than else. Super lolly. Some of these games need PhD level content. Yes, 100% super lolly. Yeah. Because there's going to be people who are going to go out into space and just do whatever the f they want. So we don't want to. We're going to stick it to the man. And I honestly don't know how people can live in an anarchy, or an anarchical society or what have you, where and you know and then have contractors who are keeping the peace or whatever. So unless it's might makes right, or is like what the Wild West kind of was, where the law enforcement was just probably as bad as the villains themselves. But yeah, so according to the future, according to Eclipse Phase, pretty much the bottom part of the triangle is everyone has it. I mean, and there are no poor people, which strikes me as being a bit fake. I can't imagine. Star Trek was great, but I can't imagine that we're not going to have the haves and the have-nots. And if you read through some of this down the line here on this reputation 101 bit, they do say that there are people who take advantage of the system. So and there are different reputation systems based on who you are and what you're doing with that reputation. So they say the actual process of pinging and dinging is what they call it, is via mesh with the resulting changes viewable by anyone in real time. You don't actually need to know the person you're affecting. You just need to access their network profile, which most people broadcast publicly. Most networks allow you to anonymously register up and down votes, partly to avoid retaliatory dings. In theory, this is meant to allow bystanders to reward or punish relatively minor everyday occurrences. So, you hold the door open for somebody, you stop a mugger. I don't know why there would be mugging if there's no, in the post scarcity society. But let's say a crime was committed and you help stop it, people see you stop it, they're going to ding 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 ding, you're going to get, 20, 30, 40 points in your rep score. Conversely, if you are the one who committed the crime and were caught, people are going to see you and doop, 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 that kind of thing. It's worth noting each social network. So now we have social networks, which, basically it's Facebook coin in this case. So depending on how nice you are on the Facebooks or the Metas or whatever the hell exists in the 22nd century, the Twitters or the Mastodons. Ooh, yeah, that's ugly. Uh, different methods for weighing positive and negative feedback, partly to avoid effects to game the network. So that's like my ultimate nightmare. Well, YTT, this is exactly what that RPG is. There are some cultures or some groups in this world or in this current universe, that work with physical cash or with the barter system. Um, probably what you would consider, in this time and day and age, would be more likely to be, but anyway, um, or people who are just anti-technology. I think there's a couple of anti-technology factions here where everybody's a what they called it, a flat, which is typical human person, no modifications, no changes, no cortical stack. When you die, you die. And so um, so yeah, they have networks. They call them networks like Fame, rate feedback from high rep sources more heavily than low rep ones. So let's say you're on the Fame network and you're the Kardashians of the group, so you're things that you do online or on a show or something like that, you're going to get pinged and dinged a lot. um, Different networks depending on what network you're in or what your current take me out to the black, tell them I ain't coming back. You're going to take the, if that's an expanse term, I do apologize. The first thing I thought of was you're going to take the black and go to the wall and protect uh, Firefly. Okay. Yeah, that's a series I haven't finished yet. I think I made it through like 4 episodes. So, and considering it was a Joss Whedon thing and the ugly shit that happened there, I probably will not finish it. So, um, yeah, so they say another thing to consider in these times with constant surveillance and deep but searchable archives, our past history can continue to impact our reputation years down the line. Those that have provided great public service to the Alliance. On the flip side, our past errors can often follow us for a long, long time. Continue to drag on our reputation. Even publicly repudiated past bad acts can take time to filter through the mesh. So they talk about, more importance are testimonials. So like LinkedIn's like recommendations, like, oh, Brian, you know, in the world of people that can do stuff, Brian can do that stuff the bestest, and that seems to have more weight than random dings, for instance. The one thing that I haven't read through all of this yet, but I would imagine it's almost like the stock market. So there's going to be controls on, you know, yeah, you may have caused a crime, which the kangaroo court of public opinion is going to ding you, say 50, 60 points, but after a while the AIs in the world or whoever's monitoring the credit or reputation, or it's going to be a sliding scale, right? After you're gonna go down so far, and then it's going to kind of level off because people can't, you know, continue to keep dinging you for a certain amount of time or forever. The same going up. You can only go up so much. Say you did stop the criminal, you'll get 50 points to a ding, to ping. After that, it'll be like, you'll get secondary pings, or maybe the have and have nots is if you have bad credit rating to begin with, your ping doesn't matter as much as somebody who has a high credit rating or rep rating. So that may be another way that they expect the system to work. And if you faction matters, so if you work for a hypercorp like whatever the 23rd century version of Google is, and the whole company gets hit, if you're a contractor, you are a citizen of hypercorp LLC, maybe something that hypercorp does will affect your reputation rank too, abstractly. Whereas the hypercorp would lose 100 points, every employee would lose 5 or 6 points because, hey, you work with these people, you should have done what is necessary. So, I was just trying to talk through it and how you might use this in an RPG. I think if you had a campaign where it was important for you to have these credits, it seems like there'd be a lot of hand waving here, and your rep would, for me, the rep would not change a lot immediately. I mean, there could be things that happen during the game where you might get a couple of bumps or something like that. But a major goal would also be, well, if you bring back the experimental engine parts for the deep space probes that we're going to be using that we think, Evil Corp took from us, you'll get a recommendation from our testimony from our CEO or something like that, which would, raise your level of your permanent record, if you will, up, where it would be be higher than normal. So let's say everybody can get up to 300, and that's the maximum you can get, but with additional testimonials you can actually raise it above 300-400 points or something like that. That might be the case. So YTT asks a good question. Then Evil Corp would downrate you. Um, I would like to believe that this future is one where um, there are controls in place where it's like, well, you stole it back from Evil Corp, and yeah, I don't know how you would do that. That's the one issue that I have with some of this. YTT and I are gaming this system and trying to figure out why or how this works. Obviously, this was written by people who don't think about cheating systems on the reg. Who's policing the police? um, well, that's what algorithms are for, right? YTT. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's the one thing I've got issues with the rep system. I mean, there's a lot of holes that can be blasted in this. Even the hardest sci-fi, even like Blade Runner and them, they still use credits and stuff. It's pretty much a credit card, but um, you're still using currency of some kind. I mean, YTT. I think the way the authors have it is there's AIs that actually are beneficial. Yeah, yeah. That I was going to bring that up, where China actually is working on social, social scores, social credit system. Yeah, yeah. Here you go. National credit rating and a block list. I don't like blacklist. Block list being developed by the government of the People's Republic of China. The credit initiative calls for the establishment of unified record systems so that businesses, individuals, and government institutions can be tracked and evaluated for trustworthiness. There are multiple different forms of the social credit system. Oh, Well, it is what it is, Y2T. I don't think they can give me a DMCA takedown for this. Um, being experimented with while the national regulatory method is based on block listing and allow listing. The credit system is closely related to China's mass surveillance systems such as Skynet. Oh, they have a Skynet too, which incorporates facial recognition, big data analysis, and artificial intelligence. So, but yeah, um, it is interesting. Uh, yeah. Uh, so yeah, I mean, there's definite. Somebody actually said here. Oh wait, where was it? They said they're going to game the system. Yeah, it was inevitable that someone would try to find a way to exploit and misuse the reputation economy. As a range of abuses were in fact expected and controlled for. The ongoing back and forth continues between social networking programmers and various parties interested in undermining the system. Hmm. Well, YTT, my best guess is that these authors assume that AIs don't have a bias. Um, So they say these unsuspecting users are manipulated into pinging and dinging a target's rep, usually according to an algorithmic scheme that helps avoid detection from a number of the social networks' fraud detection AIs. That is a fair point. AI is just lying with statistics. Yeah. So it does look like that they've given this some thought about how you might, game the system. And that may be where hackers come in. Like, I was actually looking at my character thinking about maybe a hacker or somebody like a low level functionary who has a problem, maybe was wronged and got dinged for several hundred points, and it was just enough to drop them into what amounts to PIP for their company. Hey, Bob, we've noticed your reputation scores in the 300 range. What's going on, Bob? Maybe we should put you into PIP. Are you a good employee? Maybe you're getting more surveillance because now you're at a 300 versus the 5 or 600s that you were before. And maybe an employee has to turn to a hacker to help, you know, bump their their rep back up, or to get around the fraud so that they can get back on the good side of their bosses and get the extra looking and prying into their lives back. So yeah. Oh, well, there you go. I hadn't even read all this, and they're saying intense campaigns might also involve hacking the accounts of targets, friends, and allies, using these to offer increasingly negative testimonials, achieving the double goal of causing a rep drop and making the target feel as though their closest friends were abandoning them. So yeah, there's definite need for that. What I think we will do when we either do this solo play or do the pretty much like Yelp. Yeah, somebody piles on to a company that has done something wrong, or that person has done something wrong. So, yes, very much like a 22nd century Yelp. Um, but yeah, and maybe we could play the system like your reputation gives you X number of additional credits every month or something. So, you'll still be able to, not afford, but you'll still have food, shelter, clothing, and security, but maybe it's basic clothing, maybe it's basic food, maybe instead of being able to eat at a high end restaurant or something like that, you won't, maybe there won't be reservations available to you, or the reservations, oh, you must have a rep of 500 or more to be able to do X, or if you want to go to the champagne room at your favorite person's club, you have to have 1,000 on your rep, or a testimonial from somebody. um, and if you want to have additional luxuries, like maybe you want to buy real food instead of uh you know grown food or something like that, grown meat, lab meat, or whatever the 22nd century version of lab meat is. um Restaurants check yours. 100%. Well, I mean, it'd be like wait, wait, what was it? It was Oh shit, what is it? It was a movie. Steve Martin. L.A. Story. L.A. Story. Um, he he wants to take this lady to dinner, and um, the restaurant does a credit check on him. And the reason I remember this is Patrick Stewart's in it, and he plays like the maitre d of the place, and he's like, Steve Martin's like, well, we'd love to have the duck, and he's like, no, no, with this credit rating, it's Patrick Stewart with a snooty French accent. He's like, with this credit rating, no, you will have the fish, you will have the fish. And yeah, so it'd be like, yeah, the restaurant is checking your credit rating to make sure you can enjoy it. It's funny because some of that shit is true. Otherwise, it is not. What's going on? Yeah? Well, come here. People have been asking for you. You're a big star. Yeah, you are a big star. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. See? Yeah. You're a big star. You are. Oh, your breast smells like cat. Good Lord. Mouth. Yeah. She's the lady of the house when my wife is gone. My wife actually went down to LA. So my wife actually was one who told me about LA stories. What's going on? I know. No. I've done systems that check your ratings when you walk into gambling establishments using facial recognition. Wait, YTT. So you're kind of doing what we know that one country that I mentioned earlier is doing. Come on. Anyway, but yeah, so that reminded me of LA Story when you mentioned the restaurant checks your rep. So that's pretty funny. So I the one thing is Fate also has so we go to Fate condensed SRD. Gambling establishments are huge on knowing their customers and their systems are shared. Okay. So Fate SRD. So if you ever wanted to get into Fate, of course it's free. You can go and take a look at it. Let me see. Where is the skills? Skills. All right. So aspects, stunts, skills. So they have a resources in the Fate. And this is what I considered resources was kind of like how they do wealth for Eclipse phase instead of because the idea like with D&D it's like, oh, you fight the dragon and you get 500 gold pieces or 500 million gold pieces, 2 copper, 12 pieces of objects of art, um 12 suits of armor and shit like that. And it's like, okay, how do you codify all that, so in the future it's going to be resources, and in this case it would be contacts, it would be access to materiel, like cars, or maybe you owe favors, that kind of thing. So and of course they consider resources here access to material things, not just money or direct ownership. Might reflect your ability to borrow from friends or dip into organization's armory. Resources stunts let you use your resources in place of rapport or contacts and give you extra free invokes when you pay for them. Or the dragon gets indigestion. Well, it's it once they pry you out of your tin can or your adamantium armor or what have you, he dumps a little ketchup on you and then crunch, crunch, crunch. But anyway, so yeah, I was just reading through some of this, and yeah, I have an issue with it, and it's probably something that won't come up much. I would imagine for how I'm expecting to play this, it would be, the rep would be more along the lines of something would be like goal oriented, and in this case, I don't see a reason to. Let me see, where's the game information here? So, the character sheets. Yeah, they've got various morphs in here. So you get like a quad morph, kind of looks like an armored core thing from the video game. Cetus, sea monster designed for sea activity. Courier. Let me see, was there? Yeah, see the different different builds of human have different abilities. Let me see. Selkie, Ring Flyer, New Gear. So they talked about nanoware, long-term life supports. Oh yeah, see, you could actually become one of these things, right? Download into a Fenrir, which is a hunter of some kind with a rail gun, looks like. Yeah, nice. Um, where's the character sheet for this shit? That's the one thing I do like. I find interesting about this is you're just for the most part, if you want to play it that way, ultimate rep. So there you go. You can what is this? Favors in areas that the requester is known to have skill in may take a penalty on the networking ultimates test at the game master's discretion. So there's another bit here about ego casting into a location. So ego casting is like you're downloading yourself into a new biomorph or a synth or something like that. Meat hab is an ego sleeved into a habitat. So the original ego is still present, but prefers low key approach. Yeah. Where is? All right, scroll. I thought a character sheet would be here. Let me see. Into the white. All right, let's see. Eclipse Phase, second edition. Hey, Y2T, you said your time you had a rough week. I won't lie to you. You won't lie to me because I saw some of your tweets. I wouldn't want to be you ever. So there you go. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in terms of all the shit you had to go through this week. Yeah. Where's the character sheet? Yeah, Eclipse Phase second. Wait, the second edition came out in. Yeah, I was gonna say EP2 came. The first edition was released in 2009. Yeah, so second edition was actually released in 2016. But I've been using a lot of the. So I think I probably have to go get the Eclipse Phase book thing. So, well, YTT, if there was a person who needed, the company needed during an incident, it would be you. I mean, they couldn't have picked a better person. If you had a rep score, it would have gone up about 20 or 30, I think. So that's good. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you'd have about a 5,000 rep score right now. All the shit you had to go through there. So, Eclipse Face second edition. Oh, character sheet. Character sheet. There we go. A lot of their stuff that they've released for Eclipse Phase is free as well. So you get the QSR free rules primer. Starts with an adventure as well. There it goes. Character sheets. Character sheets. All right. So there's a number. Holy shit. Okay. I haven't actually looked at this. Okay. Well, this is complicated. Remember, this is not for the Fate version. So there's going to be some additional bits. Also, with post scarcity and if everybody's living software, you're pretty much plugged in like the Matrix, where you're just, whoa, I know kung fu, that kind of shit. Or you're calling somebody up, getting access to specific knowledge, which I would still probably say that knowledge would be. Yeah, so there's some definite differences between the Fate version of Eclipse Phase and the non-Fate version. We may act yeah, so here's different reps. I think that means yeah, fake ID. Okay, so you can have fake IDs, apparently, even in the 22nd century. Um, your motivational goals are, shoved down at the very bottom on page 2. which ideally you would think your motivation and your goals would be, you know, at the top to kind of help you build that out. Um, oh yes, this was the one with the infosec skill being the hacking skill. So and what bad guys use, they use infosec. But fake IDs, woo, yeah. So at least I can still get inebriated. Well, there's different ways to get inebriated, right? If you are inside a human, a biomorph in this case, what does getting drunk look like? Or if you're a living program, what does getting drunk look like? Can you get drunk? Or is it just easier for you to simulate being drunk? Or, um, I mean, what does it look like to be drunk in virtual reality? I'm imagining, the future looking like a gigantic, meta world or a Second Life world, and it's like, can you get drunk? Or maybe you have to use virtual credits or something. Getting drunk as a program looks exactly like Windows 8. Oh, wow. Wow. That's a kick. That's a kick to the I must be I must be the only person who ever liked Windows 8.0. I didn't hate the icons, and then wasn't a Unity desktop, but it was the lack of when you hit the little Windows button down here, everything would turn into just one screen. I didn't hate it, but I mean Metro. That's it. Yeah, Metro. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't hate that, but yeah. So I can understand them needing a lot of additional hooks on this because your combat gear could be dependent on which kind of um, system you're in. If you're a vehicle or if you're in a uh, a body, that kind of thing. Um, various reputations, your legitimate reputation up here. See, they have at rep, C rep, F rep, X rep, R rep, I rep. So there's, G rep. Yeah. So minimum 3 favors a week, one mod favor a week, or one major per story arc. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Let me see. Transhumanity Fate. Let's see. Yeah, you can tell that they actually have made this a little, I would say cheaper, not cheaper, but let me see. Conversions, skill table, running the game, psychosurgery, and re-sleeving equipment. Yeah, Ego Bridge is a device that scans the brain. Um, yeah, what I was going to do for my sci-fi game was that once we got complicated enough quantum machines, it could figure out and map the brain because it could handle the um, uncertainty that comes from the scanning of the brain. And then of course you'd have storylines where, well, maybe they were a first gen singularity hookup, like, oh yeah, they did it for the funsies, like it was a billionaire or what have you. Maybe they suffered from personality disorders, so because it wasn't a good transfer. But once you've done a couple of 100,000, maybe they or you had a higher rate of failure, some of the parts more than versus more than the sum of the parts. Right, right. Yeah. you know you could also have philosophical debates about whether uploading the singularity is death. Did your soul go with you? That kind of thing. So creating your sentinels. Let's see, where is it? Really would like a character sheet. Would it have killed them to include a character sheet for Transhumanity Fate? Maybe they did, and I just did not pick it up. Let's see. Transhumanity Fate. Mm-hmm. Table of contents. It requires Fate core system. Okay, so you need the Fate core system, which I've already bought this, but the SRD is available as well. So let me see. Fate core rules. Fate core. So yeah, you're gonna use this, and I've already looked at the solo stuff because you need the Oracle to be able to do stuff with character rules. There are some changes if you do it the Fate Solo version. So you need 4 refresh instead of the typical 3. You get 5 free stunts. You get 4 stress boxes to start with, and you get 7 aspects because they obviously by yourself, you're pretty much, if you don't have a sidekick, using the sidekick rule, you're going to have, you're going to need additional bits here. So, I actually bought this as well, Fate Solo. This was available on here as well. I actually picked up some of the mythic options, so some of the mythic GME stuff is available. Let me scroll down here. Fate Solo. There you go. Yeah, solo based engine games master emulator for Fate, simple, streamlined, and requires only standard Fate dice. Includes an interview which explains some of the background on how to use Fate Solo. Interview counts for most of the page count. Just a different way of doing things. You can actually use the Mythic GME as well for this when you're building your characters, or you can use another one that's good for solo play is Rysis, which has come back up. Yeah, the Anything RPG. Surprise! I bought it. It's okay. Yeah, Rysis has been translated to a number of things, mostly for fantasy, but you can use it for uh, non-fantasy kind of stuff as well. It's the Anything RPG, so it's based on using cliches, which are very much like aspects or something in Fate. They makes really you can play with that a little bit, but yeah. So you've got your first aspect is going to be your high concept, which is like your top level. Like it would be like so for my first character would be let me see. My first character it'd be like maybe a program analyst for HyperCorp. So let me yoink. Let me grab that and pull it over here. Log into docs.google.com. And ideally, I may be playing by myself on some of this, but you know, it could be where we have people come in like YTT if she can get time to join us. Where, all right, so you know what? Let's not do it that way. Let's grab it and make it half the page. So YTT, I think Zoom has actually gotten so Zoom has the ability to do avatars now, and I don't hate them. They're all cutesy and little animals and stuff, but they do have they do have the ability to do video settings. Let's do the integrated camera, backgrounds and effects. Let's go to avatars. So it actually can see me talking. Ah, ah. It's actually not bad. I mean, and unlike the other system that I was trying to use back in the day, doesn't completely cause my system to, you know, peg itself at 150% of usage. So, there's other ones as well. Like I could be a Trash Panda. Yeah, it doesn't do um, blinking. It doesn't do winking, and you can see where I'm trying to see the face geometry move, but oh, heads move so adorably. uh Yes, that is true. Everybody, I think this was there was a story about the lawyer who was one of the cats on here, I think, and he showed up in court with the cat avatar on, and I think it was in England. He was like, obviously I'm not a cat. I live here, and the judge is like, oh, yes, yes, I'm aware. So anyway, I mean, it could be worse. I wish this technology was kind of standalone and there were more options because I don't really want to be a cow or a wolf or a raccoon or a grizzly bear. You need, I don't have or want or need 300 teraflops to do something. I don't want to have to buy a hydroelectric dam to do anything. That's just me. But yeah. So I think if you just want something a little cutesy that doesn't have your actual real face on it, this is going to work fairly well for some folks. What is that? A fox? Is that a fox right there? Yeah, that's a fox and a dog. A dog. Oh, so there's one hoodie and t-shirt. Hoodie and t-shirt for each one. Oh, is that a little bunny rabbit? Is that a little bunny rabbit? Ah. Mm. Oh, you can poke your tongue out. Mm. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I found that kind of interesting how they, and how they're able to do it with the existing, camera technology. That was with my POS internal camera, not the SLR. So, um, but yeah, um, I don't know. I think 300 teraflops is going to be outside the range of most folk. So that's one thing I haven't gotten yet. I can't stick my tongue out. Ah, so Zoom is beating you to the thing. So there you go. All right. Well, let me go ahead and see if we can get something started here for this character building. So the Fate Solo Oracle, I haven't I the one thing it mentioned down, where was that? Let me see. No, there was the surprise factor. It says a surprise factor roll, which is the surprise factor plus 4 die fate, is triggered every time a minus or a plus is rolled on the Fate Solo Oracle. If minus minus or plus plus are roll twice. If the roll beats a surprise threshold, then a level of surprise occurs. So, um, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to investigate some of this. Um, says the surprise factor starts at a mediocre. Each scene with a surprise factor roll, but no surprise increases the surprise factor. Uh, yeah, I may have to bodge some of this together where it's like I'm building the character with this, but I'm going to use the mythic GME um, method by which of doing things. I believe me, myself, and die. Yeah. So this guy I think used Mythic GME, and I've mentioned him more than once. I think during the shows. Yeah, channel trailer. Oh, don't play that! Don't play that! You son of a bitch. Let me see. So he uses, yeah, yeah, he uses GME, but he's been doing this for a few years now. So I'm not gonna try to replicate what he's doing because it appears he's doing some kind of fantasy version in his system. So um, ideally, we may have guests, NPCs, if you will, or actual players if we can get people to stay permanently and actually can show up for regular sessions, which I have to work on trying to get done on a regular basis. So, all right. So for the high concept, two ways to start: either start with a high concept or with the trouble. Let's start with the trouble. So the trouble is, hmm, and this is where some of those lists that I bought would come in handy. It's like if I can't figure out a trouble, then it might be something where I can lists. Sci-fi codex of lists, ancient relics and artifacts. Sci-fi codex of lists 2, lists 3. see. Mutations, red alerts, spatial anomalies, special ammo, star types, Starship Apex systems. Spinal mounts. Nice. Steampunk adventure hooks. Let's just keep it a trouble. Family member. Reputation score. No, how about family member is in trouble with the law. There we go. How about that one? All right. I'll have to go through some of these because I mean there are a ton of these things. Tech levels. I mean, look at these sci-fi RPG, alien artifacts, a generator, races, world encounters, alternate histories, animal types, apocalyptic events. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. So, and this is just the second edition. There's actually at least 3 of these. So, there might actually be a not plot hooks, but yeah. So let's go see what this one had in it. Virtual reality adventure hooks. There you go. Superpower levels, superpower traits, tech trees, time travel adventure hooks, sci-punk adventure hooks. So there's some adventure hooks in this one. Yeah. All right. So family's in trouble with the law. So a family member's in trouble with the law. Second aspect is either the trouble or the high concept. All right. So the high concept. I am a computer programmer at let me see. Let's see. Sci-fi. Is there business lists? Maybe company lists? Let me see. Company lists. Company names, maybe. Medic archetype. Mega City Adventure hooks. Futuristic. See, this is where I'd like, if people wanted to help out, give me an ideal. I was thinking about this. It's like, well, part of the adventure will be including people here to help out and play, and it'd be like, if you maybe there's a bits level or something. At a certain bit level, you'll be able to include facts or be able to help me on rolls where, if I don't roll so well, you can give me a +2, by giving 100 bits or something like that. Sci-fi company, supra company names. I don't type for shit. It's only going to get worse. 400, there you go. 488 sci-fi company names with that futuristic vibe. There you go. Wow. Okay, let's bookmark this bad boy. Nice. RPG links. Save. All right. Nice. Okay. Quasi-plane transportation. I could imagine the future is going to be not like galactic travel or whatever. It's going to be quasi or quantum plane transportation. All right. So my computer programmer at Xeroxing the brain. All right. Oh, that sounds like a good one. MindStar Telematics. That sounds nice. What they do, I don't know yet, but we will see. Maybe the trouble with my family member was something to do with my company. Maybe I don't know. Let me keep track of these lists. Let's see. Corp names. That's a good one. Yeah. All right. Well, hold on to that. I'll transfer this to a better character sheet eventually. And if I end up with a sidekick or have to have a sidekick, then we'll work that issue out as well. All right. So, trouble aspect is like the standard trouble aspect. Difference is that the whole character should be built around the contradiction between the trouble and the high concept aspects. Okay, so family members in trouble with the law. Concept is a computer programmer at telematics. My goal is to goal. God damn it. Goal. Um. Well, I guess that's the question, isn't it? Do I want to turn my family member in, or do I want to help my family member? That'll be interesting. Find out the truth. Instead of making that judgment, we'll just say, find out the truth about what happened to the family member. There we go. And the good thing about fate is you can always buy off an aspect or change an aspect if you'd like. Third aspect is a goal. Okay, the goal aspect can be as simple as stop X from happening. Could also be more complicated, though it needs to concrete. It needs to be concrete. Have a yes or no to it being fulfilled, and have a shortish goal deadline. Okay, well that could be fairly short, depending on where my family member's hiding out or what have you. The fourth and fifth aspects are linking aspects. These aspects link the character to the world, another person within the world, or the character's backstory. Okay. All right. So, let me see. So the aspects. So I need something. I need two that link me to the world, to another character in the world, or a character's backstory. All right. So maybe it's a backstory one. Maybe I was at one time not a good person. Maybe I did some bad stuff. And let me see, backstory aspect. Reformed hacker is what it is. Reformed hacker. Maybe I went on the straight and narrow at one point. Maybe I got caught or something like that. We'll work that out. Oh well, maybe that'll be another person or an NPC within the world. So maybe the NPC that maybe there was an NPC that put me on the straight and narrow. NPC aspect. Maybe it was a law enforcement agent or whoever amounts to law enforcement. Could be. All right, let's do that. Give me a name. Give me a name. Let's see. Futuristic name list. Long list of futuristic names. There we go. If you're a writer seeking a name for your futuristic novel, you may find one in this extended list. Okay. Let's go to page 14 and we'll use whatever's on page 14. Oh, I like that one. Helia. Okay. Maybe Helia. Okay. Helia. Does Helia have a last name? I guess it would depend on who Helia is. Maybe that's something. Maybe that's something I could leave to the people watching or listening at one point. All right, let me go to. Dun, 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 20. Let's go to 20. Okay. Yeah, we'll just leave Helia. Helia, I don't know who Helia is, if it's a, them, they, he, she, synth morph, maybe it's an AI, maybe it's a shady critter, or maybe it's Yeah, don't know what it is. Could be an uplifted rodent for all I know. So let's just say Helia put us on the straight and narrow and made us a legitimate computer programmer at Mindstar Telematics. So let's go that route. Okay. So that's the fourth and fifth aspects. So sixth and seventh aspects are blank. Seventh aspect. Seventh chevron activated. Chevron 7 encoded. There we go. All right. Sixth and seventh aspects can be left blank and filled in during play. However, if you think of some good aspects in character creation, fill them in. It can also be any of the above with the exception of high concept. Okay, so it could be a second trouble or a second goal. Yeah, however, if a second goal is picked, it can have a longer timeline or less solid fulfillment criteria. Okay. All right. So NPC aspect, maybe I will go to Helia and find out if I can get some information on what my family member did, who the family member was, how I found out. Maybe that's how I found out. Helia contacts me, what have you. All right. Surprises. So here's some of the surprises. Bring someone to life that was dead. Character doesn't know who they are. Conflict's been solved. Okay. Hacking surprises. There's 7 ways to change how surprise factor works. Oh, see, so this may be how some of my my listeners will be able to help out with this, or help out with our game as we continue on the surprise factors. Increase all thresholds by 1. Negatives or pluses only count as 1 roll, as 2, but they add 1 to the surprise factor. There's a lot having to deal with this surprise factor thing. I'm gonna have to go see what's easier for the game session. I don't want this to be overly heavy, so. Yeah, somebody read. This person Kenny gave an interview. Okay. Fate solo character modifying oracles and surprises. Okay. I do know that this is not the only Fate solo engine that's available. Let me go ahead and grab this list as well. Futuristic names list. There we go. All right. Okay. Oh. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Mother. This is why we can't have nice things. Google.com. Untitled document. Okay. I was trying out a 3-monitor setup, but I'm not feeling it right now. There we go. Let's leave that alone. All right. And what I wanted to do was hit Control W for this one, and yeah, basics. Veterans, you might read this. Yeah. Okay, Veterans Guide, extras, running the game, skills and stunts, aspects, and fate points. Character creation. Yep. See, with regular Fate, you have characters, 2 or 3 people. Idea is you're supposed to find ways to weave your 2 or 3 characters in together with each other. So, like, Bob will know Jim because they worked at the plant together, and the third character may be related to one of those folks, or it's going to be unlike D&D where your characters are like, an elf, a dwarf, an orc, and a human, and it's like, well, you all meet in a tavern. It's like, really? Ideally you're supposed to have reasons of why these people are together. They know each other. They're in the same boat or issue. maybe they were, three of the four people were displaced from their homes because of a natural disaster. So they're all like, trying to find shelter. And the fourth person just happens to come along because they work with the local aid group. And then something happens to all four of them and that brings them together. So yeah. Yeah, see, so in phases 2 and 3 described how you've crossed paths with two other characters. So, the way I said it works this way, what have you. So all right. So there wasn't much here. Let me see what else. Did it mention using Fate Core? Yeah. So the use of core ideas from Fate Core, the lone hero needs to be larger than life. With that in mind, the power level of the hero using the Fate system toolkit is Pulp Adventure. 5 skills, 4 fair, or 5 average, 4 fair, 3, 2, 1. In normal games, it's 4, 3, 2, 1. So you only get 4 average, 3 fair, 2 good, 1 great. So let me see. Where's the character sheets? Extras. Downloads. All right. Atomic Robo, Fate, Core Extended Character Sheet, Form Fillable. Ooh. Let's see. Character Creation Worksheet. So one of the other things that let me see. Can I duplicate this tab? Go backwards. So the game creation worksheet was another thing I was looking at trying to do as well. For various locations, you have to have uh, aspects, right? So let's say you're on the bridge of the Enterprise D with Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Uh, the aspects of the bridge may be, depending on the scenario at the time, might be tense. So if we're talking to the Romulans, it might be a little tense, businesslike. It might be quiet. So something might happen where there's a huge cacophony of sound on the bridge, or it was businesslike until the console exploded because there might be a fire on the bridge because a disruptor hit the bridge and there's damage to the Enterprise, so there may be a fire on the bridge, or there might be a medical emergency or something. So ideas of those aspects, one or two, might be something you'd want to do. So I'm going to go in and look at the game creation worksheets to make that easier as well. All right, so the Fate character creation sheet. So we have the high concept, which is I'm a computer programmer at Mindstar Telematics. See if I can just fill these things in. Control C. This is in the browser, so I'm guessing no. Let's see. Downloads. And we will probably need to open it. With drawboard. Oh, so I had a couple other ones. DM yourself. That was another good one. New document. What's this new document? Oh, okay. It's some spitballing some fantasy items. Yeah, so one of the other systems that I had was called DM Yourself, which was a way to do fantasy games. So it's like, time consuming behaviors if you have to, every time you kill someone, you loot the body. So, instead of assuming, instead of saying, I have to loot the body, you just always assume that you're going to loot the body of your enemies, or you're going to search for dead ends or traps or what have you. So, this is more for 5e. If you're trying to play like a 5e game, I was actually looking at doing Mines of Found Delver or similar Rise of the Drow or something, which actually came out as a collector's edition version, 545 pages. or Tallus, City of Spires from Robin D. Laws and them. So, but this is a way of playing a 5e campaign along with your sidekick. So there's basically you get two characters with a sidekick. So I'm Conan to the thief or what have you that was following Conan around. Uh, Not Conan O'Brien, but Conan, the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, so oh well, something got copied in. All right, this is not working as they suggested. This bites. Okay. Well, I'll just have to try this at a later time. And I'm up for doing a 5e game too, if it's something that everybody else wants to do. Um, the play DM yourself game. They said it works better if the adventure is more linear, so a sandboxed or not a sandbox game, but an open-ended kind of game like Curse of Strahd's a little bit harder to do. So it would be, maybe you would have to do a little bit of railroading where it's like, you're looking for, the the sigil of Pelor or whatever, which is the Sunstone or what have you. You would get information that these are the three things you need to kill the Strahd or to destroy him, and they'll be found here, here, and here, and you get there and you find, oh, sorry, our princess is in another castle. It's actually over at the other castle, so that kind of thing. So might be something to investigate as well. So all right, let's close this. Close what an autonomist is. Oh. So name, yeah. I don't want to do the firewall phases. I really just don't like the idea of firewall. Like, your character has to be, super secret squirrel person or something. I'm like, I'm good. Maybe Helia is a firewall agent potentially. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah. So let's see. Character concept. Crossing paths. Identical to crossing paths, where you will add another character's event by complicating it, solving a situation, or both. However, there's more than one event. Together, you choose which event makes more sense for your characters. You have to remember that some of these are barroom brawl in the 22nd century. Is it a virtual brawl or a physical brawl? Like in what are we gonna call this space? People say meat space, 3D space. I mean, I wanted to, when you're in VR, there's going to be people who don't want to come out here. They love living in the VR world. They love living as code. They don't want to be a you know a meat bag in real space. So we need to figure out some words that denigrate the physical realm, right? Um, yeah, we need something for that. So we need some slang or some jargon that denigrates the meat space. I mean, meat space sounds good, but I think we already used that for what we are. Oh, lo-fi. Mm, I like that. Lo-fi for is like low fidelity, or there's music type out there that's very simple. Hmm. 8-bit came to mind, right? YTT. I was thinking you said lo-fi when I thought video game music, and I thought like Super Mario Brothers, or like you know you want to go out and be Pixels or something like that. Do you want to or interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, lo-fi. Okay, good. Lo-fi. Yeah. Is 32-bit tomorrow's 8-bit? I would say yes. I would say 32 or 60, do you want to be you want to go low bandwidth, maybe something like that, like low bandwidth. You want to go low bandwidth because I would imagine in the virtual sphere or the second verse or whatever the hell they're calling that, in the future, you can you just do your thing, right? There's no concept of time, so you're going low bandwidth, you're going I'm in 128-bit space just for my rendering today. Have you ever thought about, making a movie or something, Y2T? I would say with the 300 teraflops, you might be able to actually make an animated movie or something. I would, if you put that up on Kickstarter and said, "Hey, I'm going to render this movie and I have an idea," I would, I would kickstart that in a heartbeat, because that is the way I am. So that's like nothing against today's render houses. Well, I would, okay, that's fair, I guess. Um, just a thought, it doesn't have to, you know what? You could do like an 8-bit, you could render an 8-bit movie. There you go. Uh, um, you know, let me see. Low bandwidth, lo-fi, um, because the transhumanist world, the VR world, the second verse or whatever, I'm imagining, God, like I hate fucking thinking about it like Mastodon, but there might actually be communities that are dedicated to doing things like forever cosplay. So you might wander into a community that is Renaissance time or what looks like Renaissance time, may not be completely interpreted that way. They may get some things wrong because there might have been some reason why records from the earlier centuries didn't make it to the 22nd century. Maybe there was a schism or a data loss event that lost large parts of history. So you might see a Volkswagen Beetle in the Renaissance era or something like that. Um, People running around with chickens or large ostriches because somebody crossed Final Fantasy and 13th century Europe together, something like that. Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, that's good. It's real good. Okay. Um, close that. We'll close that. Let me see. Is there anything else? I'll work on some of this. We're gonna record the Break Sec podcast tomorrow night. Um, and then Tuesday night, I actually have to meet somebody about a series of reverse engineering courses. That's not Lemony Snicket, it's a series of reverse engineering courses. Even though reverse engineering is fraught with issues, and it could be Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate reverse engineering issues, but we have somebody who wants to come on and do some content for us. So I'm not going to say no, especially since I'm not good at doing reverse engineering. Let me see what else. Yeah, I need to figure out why I can't add things into these fillable forms like it swears I can do, but um uh yeah. So if you want to follow along, it's not cheap. It is $15. And I won't tell you that there's Google dorking that you could probably do to find these and not have to pay for them. Um, I do not recommend that. These are good quality source material that somebody has spent time and effort creating for this. So if you are interested in following along or doing your own thing, that would send them a few bucks if you can. So let me see. Where's the stunts, refresh, skills, morphs. So the morphs are biological, synthetic, or purely informational shells that house their personality and memories, known as the ego. So, our what makes us us is called the ego. So biological would be like humans. Synthetics would be people who look human but made like rubbery skin, like Data. I would say Data is probably a synthetic, but you can download your ego into him. Informational shells might be um, I don't know. I'd imagine that'd be like a Roomba or something, like a robot, or something. So they talk about various things that you can be, like a team role. For Fate, they have different packages basically. like a criminal hacker. Your peak skills infosec. Other key skills would be cover, deceive, and hardware. Likely morphs. You might use a Menton or Swarmanoid. So depending on what you are, so not an AI researcher, cool hunter, or a bot jammer. Let me see. What do we have? Freelance judge. Oh yeah, so this is the anarcho-capitalist. So they they have basically your Judge Dredd for all intents and purposes. I would imagine Judge Dredd's peak skill was not rapport. It tended to be frag grenade, but yeah. Gene hacker, explorer, forcer, ego hunter. So ego hunters, people who try to track down egos or people who live in cyberspace. Journalist, networker. No, that's not it. Programmer, archaeologist. Okay. Maybe computer programmer's too primitive. Maybe I need to pick one of these. Maybe I'll be a techie. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Maybe I'm a techie at Mindstar Telematics. Great, I'm IT again. Lovely. And maybe I was a reformed hacker, so maybe that will inform some of my skills. Maybe I don't have a superb infosec skill. Maybe I wasn't all that good a hacker in this case, but I mean, some of the key skills is still infosec for this. So maybe maybe some of these key skills will be good. But this is good. Okay, so I can definitely be that person. Yeah, so the Zone Stalkers, that's the Titans, which were the pretty much Judgment Day, the um, T-1000s. Quarantine zone on Earth. Mars has a no zone in its solar system. It has war machines. Um, second edition has alien environmental effects. So there's actually aliens in version 2. I really wasn't interested in having aliens in here yet, because I think there's still enough that you can do with just AIs and stuff for the first goal. So we wouldn't have aliens for that. So okay, so here's the skill list. Civ rep, so that's the reputation stuff that we were talking about instead of resources. Says, yeah, see, where are contacts and resources? Those familiar to Fate Coral. See, there's no contacts or resources, as well as some other skills you might expect. Some are renamed or rethemed. Somatics for physique. So kinetics for empathy. Infiltrate for stealth. Resources and contacts are part of cred, civrep, and irep. So there's actually 3 civrep, so contacts, allies, and favors owned in the world outside of Firewall. IREP is your political clout, access to information, and access to material within Firewall. I would just, some of these we're gonna have to modify a little bit, or just say, political clout, access to information. Maybe political clout means your vote means more because of the reps that you have, your other reps. YTT, don't get me on that. Even in the 20th century, some votes count more than others. So, and I would expect that not to change much here. So, where's cred? Oh yeah, being able to bring to bear currency, liquid assets, and financial intelligence. Okay, so yeah, we'll have to work on that. Maybe I don't have a lot of cred, but maybe I have, civ rep. Probably gets worse. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like you said, who's manipulating the manipulators, or who's policing the AIs, or who's policing the police, that kind of thing. Maybe the AIs are following up. Maybe they have a strict guidelines. The one thing I did like about second edition is they appear to have God AIs. So if you ever want to enjoy and burn a night, Orion's Arm is very cool website. It is a world building website. It is very active. It is based on hard science, plausible technologies, realistic cultural development, has a vast setting. We're talking about um, uh, like God AIs and stuff. So, the AIs that you're thinking about for ring worlds. Ring worlds are just the beginning. I mean, they're talking about Dyson spheres that have Dyson spheres in them. I mean, massive structures. I mean, some of this stuff is very cool. If you ever have a chance to look through this. So there's that. You can actually participate, but there are some rules, so you just can't throw up a bunch of shite on there. So, but yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that they've got in here, I would not be surprised if those folks who wrote Transhumanity or Eclipse Phase, I wouldn't say borrowed, but I would say definitely thought about or used some of this as inspiration. So, um, Sentience, Sapience, Sophons, Sentience and Sapience with metacognition, self-awareness, reflection. They talk about, trans sapience of S1 or higher. So these are, galaxy brains or what have you. Yeah, biological sophonts. They have different genetic manipulations. Humans that have incorporated animal traits, unlike the splices of domestication. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty cool website with all kinds of stuff in there. If you want to waste hours, you can just look at this stuff. Like, this is what I would consider like an informational kind of thing. Um, Steve Bowers does a lot of work on this site. Cyborgs, bioborgs, bionoid, virtuals, including uploads, copies, and sims, are all infomorphs, self-on beings who exist entirely in Virch space. Okay, so they call it Virch space. So yeah, infomorphs for all intents and purposes are just code. You're just code that sits there. You can take on whatever shape you want in virtual space, or Virch space is what they call it, or whatever the hell we're going to call it. They talk about Virch worlds. So yeah, I mean, I might be leaning a bit heavy on this to, kind of, build inspiration. So they have EC system, 3 major categories or 3 minor. Maybe you can access certain Virch worlds with certain, certain reputation. Maybe, you must be this tall to ride, or this, your ego must be this good. Maybe to gain access to, ye old Renaissance fair, you must be, given a testimonial from somebody who will, vouch for you. Something to think about. So, oh my goodness, look at the time. How can I talk and stuff like this? It's odd. So, I do want to continue with this, so I'm trying to think about maybe doing this once a week, maybe not on a Sunday, but I need to do something once a week that isn't InfoSec related, because I actually like doing this, kind of thinking it through, letting people make comments and questions and things. So I think I've done enough streaming that I need to set down a regular cadence or schedule. So, like, 2 or 3 times a week. So Sundays will always be the podcast. So maybe a Friday and a Tuesday or something like that. And maybe once we get the ability to do subscriber only stuff, maybe there'll be like a Thursday cast where we just have the subscribers having access to that. We have over 375 followers now. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, I was looking at that. So yeah. Going to go see if anybody is online. Yep, nobody's online of note. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and take another hour or so and work on my character, my PC, if you will. There might be other opportunities for my character to live in virtue space or what have you, and go on adventures in there. Um, trying to figure out. Oh, oh my. That looks so. YTT had sent me a DM with her render of her character. Wow. Okay. Is that a night render, like where it's at night, or does I just need to turn up the brightness on? Oh, there it is. I just need to turn the brightness up on my phone because I'm an idiot. the hell? All right, there we go. That's better. Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, I love the flyaway hair. That's pretty nice. Oh, is it? I'll have to like. Okay, it's a PNG. All right, that is awesome. The little flyaway hair. So what I'm seeing is purple hair, but it's like it just kind of does its own thing. It's kind of frizzy because it's probably moisture or something. Very nice render on that, and the lighting is coming from. Well, I mean, I'm looking at her and she's looking at it like this, so her hair's got lighting on this side. Um, that's very cool. I like that. Um, Might be fun to do a non-infosec thing where you can come and talk about. Ooh, I'm getting a little slower frame rate here. Oh, wonder why that is. Oh, well, I'm really dropping, aren't I? All right, let me kill that. Might be. There we go. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so yeah, the Twitch was causing my frame rate to go down. Everybody, sorry about that. I have another for professional. Can you run? Are you running that through like a virtual webcam Y2T? Is that how you're making that work? Okay, okay. 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 Um, yeah, I can imagine you using that in a Zoom or something. Mm, but yeah. Um, yeah, I would love to, talk from a tech point of view, how you're doing your renders and everything like that. That's pretty awesome. All right, cool. Well, uh, Y2T, thank you so much for coming. And everyone else who's been lurking, it's very much appreciated that you joined us tonight. I will definitely work on some more items here for the Fate Core sheet. I'll need to, if I have to add if I had to add these additional aspects and make some changes, I'll have to probably use a character sheet that I already have in Google Docs for specifically Fate Core. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah. Hope everyone has a good night and their Monday goes as well as it can. We will be back on tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific for BreakSec. So come and join us then. And we'll do some news and we'll talk about some stuff. And yeah, just have a grand old time with Miss Berlin, Mr. Petcher. So hope everyone has a good night and take care of yourselves. As we're always fond of saying here, because you're the only you have. Make sure you be nice to one another. Find the empathy if you can, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.